I still remember that evening like it was yesterday. The sun had just begun to set, casting a golden glow over the busy streets of Shomolu, Lagos. The air smelled of roasted corn and suya, mixed with the sharp scent of fuel from the yellow danfos squeezing through traffic. Hawkers shouted, trying to sell their goods before nightfall. I was in a hurry. My mother had sent me on an errand to buy medicine for my sick younger sister. The small bag of money she gave me was tight in my fist. I couldn't afford to lose it. Then I saw him. An old blind beggar sat at the corner of the road, right beside the entrance to a popular canteen. His clothes were torn and dirty, and his head was barred with patches of white hair. His frail hands shook as he held out a rusty tin cup, begging for alms. His voice was weak, almost a whisper. "Please, help me. I have not eaten today. God bless you, my child. Please, help me. I have not eaten today. God bless you, my child. Please, help the blind. Please." People passed by, some dropping coins, others ignoring him. I slowed down for a second. Something about him pulled at my heart. He reminded me of my late grandfather. I wanted to help, but then I remembered my sister. The money in my hand was all I had. If I gave it away, I would return home empty-handed. I shook my head, feeling guilty but determined. "I am sorry, Baba," I mumbled and hurried away. But just as I took a few steps forward, a young girl in a faded blue dress rushed past me. She couldn't have been more than 10 years old. She stopped in front of the beggar and knelt down. "Baba, you are still here. Have you eaten today?" she asked softly. The woman turned his head towards her voice. "No, my daughter. I am still waiting for God to touch someone's heart." Without hesitation, the girl reached into her small pocket and brought out a piece of bread wrapped in a nylon bag. It looked like her only food. "Take this, Baba. Eat it." The beggar's hands trembled as he took the bread. Tears rolled down his cheeks. "God bless you, my child. May you never lack." I stood, frozen, ashamed of myself. A small girl had done what I was too afraid to do. Then, something strange happened. The moment the bread touched the beggar's lips, a loud shout came from across the street. "Thief! Thief! Thief! Oh, thief!" A crowd started gathering. People ran toward a man being dragged out of a small shop. He was struggling, but two angry men held him tight. "You think you can steal from us, Abi? Today, we could teach you a lesson," one of them shouted. I didn't know why, but I felt a strange pull in my heart. I stepped closer to see what was happening, and then my heart stopped. The so-called thief was the same blind beggar. My head spun. Blind? But I just saw him begging a moment ago. "This man is a criminal," the shop owner shouted. "He pretends to be blind so people will pity him. But see, he entered my shop and stole money from my drawer." The crowd gasped. The young girl who had given him bread stood beside me, shaking. "Baba, you can see?" she asked, her voice breaking. The beggar, "Oh no," the criminal said nothing. His face was full of shame. An elderly woman from the crowd spat on the ground. See am, every evening, he go sit for here dey beg. We don't pity am, but na thief. God go punish you. I couldn't move. My heart pounded. I had almost given away my sister's medicine money to a liar. That was the day I learned a painful lesson. Not all who beg are truly in need. Some take advantage of good health. I turned and walked away, my hands still clutching the money. As I walked away, my mind was restless. I kept replaying the scene in my head, the way the so-called blind man had been caught, the shock on the little girl's face, the anger and the voices of the crowd. I had almost fallen for his act. Almost. The market was still busy, but my steps felt heavier. I reached the pharmacy, bought the medicine, and hurried home. When I got home, my mother was sitting on the mat beside my little sister, who was wrapped in a thin cloth. Her face lit up when she saw the medicine. Joseph, you came back quickly. Thank you, my son. I smiled weakly and sat down. But I couldn't get the image of that young girl out of my mind, the one who had given the beggar her only piece of bread. I felt guilty for her. She had been tricked. That night, I lay on my thin mattress, staring at the ceiling. My mother's words from years ago echoed in my head. Always help those in need, my son. You never know when you might be entertaining an angel. But what if the person wasn't really in need? What if they were just playing on people's kindness? I tossed and turned. Was I wrong for refusing to help the beggar? Or was I right? The next day, I decided to pass by the same spot again. To my surprise, the beggar was gone. In his place, a different man sat, also blind, also begging. Or was he? I felt a strange chill run down my spine. Was this another trick? I turned to a fruit seller nearby. Mama, what happened to the old blind man that used to sit here? The woman scoffed. My pikin, now so Lagos be. One fake beggar go disappear, another one go take him place. Maybe today is that. I felt my stomach turn. So, this was a business? A circle of deception? Just then, I noticed someone standing a few meters away. The little girl from yesterday. She was staring at the new beggar, confusion written all over her face. I walked up to her. You are here again? I asked, gently. She nodded slowly. I just wanted to see if Baba would come back. I sniffed. He won't. He was lying to us. Her eyes filled with tears. But why? Why would someone pretend to be in need? I didn't have an answer. We stood there for a while, watching as people dropped coins into the new beggar's tin. Was he real? Was he fake? We couldn't tell. Then, the little girl wiped her face and turned to me. Even if some people lie, I will still help those who are truly in need. Her words struck me. She had been deceived, yet she still chose kindness. That day, I learned another lesson. Yes, there are people who lie, who take advantage of kindness, but there are also real people suffering, real people who need help. But from that day on, I decided that whenever I gave, I would do it wisely. I would look beyond appearances. I would listen. I would be careful. And above all, I would never let the deception of a few stop me from doing good. Days passed, and I couldn't shake off the lesson I had learned. The streets of Lagos were full of people, some honest, some dishonest. But how could one tell the difference? One evening, I walked down the same road again. The little girl was not there, but the new beggar was still sitting in the same spot. He looked different, thinner, weaker. His head was down, and his tin cup was barely filled. I watched for a while. Unlike the first man, this one didn't call out for help. He simply sat there, waiting. An old woman passed by and dropped a coin. She looked at me and sniffed. "Young man, some of them are real, some are fake, but God sees everything. If your heart says to give, give. If it says to walk away, then walk away." Her words stayed with me. That night, I told my mother everything. The fake beggar, the little girl, the new man sitting there now. She listened quietly, then said, "Joseph, the world is not always black and white. Some people pretend to be in need, while others are truly suffering. But don't let one bad experience harden your heart." I nodded, but I still felt unsure. The next day, I passed the same street again. This time, I saw the little girl. She was sitting near the beggar, talking to him. Her small hands were holding a piece of bread, just like before. I felt something move in my chest. I walked up to them. "Is he real?" I asked her. She looked up at me and nodded. "Yes, his name is Baba Sunday. He is truly blind." I asked around. "He used to be a carpenter before an accident took his sight," another said to me. I turned to the man. His eyes were empty, staring at nothing. His face looked tired, like someone who had given up on life. For the first time, I felt something different, not just pity, but understanding. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a few naira notes. I placed them in his tin cap. Baba Sunday raised his head slightly, as if he could feel the kindness. His lips trembled. "God bless you, my son. You will never lack." "Thank you." I nodded. "Not everyone is a liar, right?" I said to the little girl. She smiled. "No, some people truly need help." That day, I walked away with peace in my heart. I had learned something important. Not to stop giving, but to give wisely. I still refuse to give the blind beggar in Shomolu Street, Lagos, but I did help Baba Sunday, and that made all the difference.